Hi everyone.
Hi guys.
Lovely to see you again, as always. Today, we wanted to talk a little bit about some extra special couple of purchases that we've made during the lockdown.
Yeah.
And when you're in a lockdown, you feel nostalgic for the past. And so I think we both thought maybe a nod to the sort of heritage might be more interesting.
Yeah, especially
Perfume-wise.
because one of the first videos we did in lockdown, when we were zooming them, was our vintage fragrances which we owned, which are fragrances just released before 2000. And obviously, we asked for some suggestions, and we knew there were lots of gaps. And of course, there were gaps. We were talking about the history of perfume.
Yeah.
But there are a few in particular which we have sought out.
Some exciting things. Huh?
What should we? Let's just try. Start with the one that Joe just says he really wants to smell.
Yeah, I need to smell this immediately.
So this is an Eau Sauvage. So this was an eBay purchase. So I think this is an 80s bottle. I think it's only like pre-1990. Trying to think how much I paid. This is a 30ml bottle. I think I paid about £40 for this on eBay. I was watching lots of this. I was watching this and Diorella. In the end, the Diorellas all seem to go for a lot more. Here we go. So there you go, Joe.
So
it's actually a really good atomizer.
They make this stuff now, of course, but
of course, yeah.
It's always nice to smell the more vintage stuff and see what happens. Oh, that's so good.
It is, isn't it?
It's so good.
I don't know if I'm just romanticising it because it's no bottle, but I'm sure I get more of a kind of a bitterness from the start.
That is far more your classic cologne with all the minty, the sort of minty green aspects.
Oh, it's wonderful, isn't it?
That is really beautiful. That is not what they're selling on the shelves now on Coriolan Sauvage. It's just not.
But you're right, so much of that mint. It always reminds me of, it's got more of Eau de Guerlain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Guerlain's real kind of classic. But this lasts better than Eau de Guerlain. Eau de Guerlain's absolutely amazing, but this...
5 seconds later, it's sort of vanishing.
Yeah. And I felt as I wear it, I get lemon sherbet as well at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do feel I get more of a bittery oak mossy.
Yeah, there's a real sharpness coming through that.
It's amazing how top note it is, isn't it, for an old bottle?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say, I would have expected to get just the sort of faint whispers of woods and sort of blend. That is firing on all cylinders at the top.
It was pretty much full when I bought it, so I don't think it'd been used. It wasn't in the box, but
if it's not really been exposed to light and air,
been used,
it can survive.
Actually, I think when I first used it, I had to spray it a few times, which suggests maybe it hadn't been sprayed before.
Yeah, you sort of had to get some in the channel. Yeah, I love that. I think I wouldn't want to buy the current stuff if I could smell that and wear that. I think that's really beautiful.
Banger.
And a million miles away from Sauvage, which has nothing to do with it. I mean, that's the heritage of what they're using. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Right, something completely different. This is one that I had no experience, especially the vintage bottles, is Opium. So this is the original women's Opium. So, and I think this is a bottle from 1987. Because I actually put this on eBay. Not on eBay, I put it on Instagram to ask people about the kind of the batch numbers and stuff, and the fact it doesn't have a barcode on the box and stuff like that. So again, this was an eBay purchase. I think I got this for about 60 quid. Let's see what you think about this. This is not a great spray, this one.
I mean, I still love the current stuff, but this, it's so good, isn't it?
Wow, that it really fills the space whenever I want it at home. It really, I mean, we've sprayed a lot of things in this loft, and that really fills the space. I know I did quite a few.
They just don't make it like this anymore, do they? Sometimes you smell these things. Oh my God! You smell these things, and you realise how much they've fucked with so many perfumes. That's so rich. It's so mossy. It's so opulent.
I do feel like we've maybe lost a bit of the top on this one because it feels like you've gone straight into mid.
But that mid is so good.
I know, it is amazing.
It's totally worth it.
Oh,
that's absolutely heavenly.
It's a big purr of sexually power.
I'm getting Joan Collins right there,
sort
of doing her thing. And look at the colour of that juice.
Yeah.
Beautiful, dark, rich, luscious stuff. YSL. I mean, I've not smelt the current stuff for a little while, but it's not that.
Oh, it's such a treat. That's a
Isn't that
real
beautiful?
animalic purr to it as well, isn't there? Just a gentle bit of fuzz.
Not a million miles away from Chypre Palatin.
Yeah, actually.
There's a little relationship
Yeah,
there.
now you said that. Now you're saying that seems really obvious in the kind of the aldehydes in this as well,
Yeah.
with the aldehydes in that. Wow, yeah, I'd never made that connection.
Just a little, and that little woodsy Gaiac wood thing going on
Yeah.
there.
You're totally right, yeah.
I think that's really beautiful.
Amazing. So do you want to...
Wow.
I think this is quite a good segue to something
Yeah.
you've
So
bought.
I got this lockdown time. This is not a vintage bottle, but it is a vintage perfume. It's from 1953. This is Estée Lauder Youth Dew. And I'm just going to... Josephine Catapano is the perfumer on this, who was with IFF, and she won awards for being amazing and being wonderful. So the whole idea behind this was that it was an affordable perfume for women that they could all buy. It wasn't a luxury item. It was meant to be the thing that launched the brand, and it did. And first of all, it came out in a bath oil before this was ever made.
Maybe you told me that, yeah.
And people give that oil a spritz, see what you think. And people loved it, and it sort of went
Can I
the
just
whole
say,
hog.
even the colour looks exactly like Coca-Cola, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I get a big Coca-Cola vibe with this, but it just settles on skin and becomes this beautiful Chypre again. This is the modern stuff, but I think it's got some good things to say, hasn't it?
It's amazing. There's a real kind of soapiness
Yeah,
when you first spray it. But already I'm getting a hint of that kind of clove Coca-Cola, almost a hint of Dr. Peppery.
yeah, it's definitely there, isn't it?
Spice, and it's just the kind of thing
Clean, but also a bit
that
funky as well.
If some indie niche brand came out with this, I think everyone would be raving about it, wouldn't they? That
Totally.
exact juice.
Totally.
It's
£20, and you can still get this anywhere. 20 quid, All Beauty or whatever. That's where I got it, and I love it. And I love the box as well.
really
I love
good.
that colour. You know, it's something.
It takes you back,
something your
doesn't
mother
it?
would wear. Yeah. I don't like the bow on the bottom. I have to say.
But I think that's all part of it. That kind of like kitsch.
Yeah, it's the style, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
And on skin, it's gorgeous. I mean, it gets richer and richer and darker.
There is a bit of relation to Opium, isn't there?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously the Opium would be the younger sister, wouldn't it? But
They definitely they've all sort of followed in a lineage, and Cinnabar, which came later from the same perfumer.
amazing,
Love it. So I'm very pleased with that little purchase.
awesome. So let's bring on to something which
This
is
is
the most
big
expensive of these ones. So this is one that, I guess people talk about Holy Grail men's fragrances. So this is Patou Pour Homme.
Round
So
of
this is
applause
I
for that.
bought off from somebody else because he ended up buying a few bottles of this. This is from Dan.
Does he still have any? Do you think?
Well, I don't know if he's selling anymore, but he's fragrance weirdo on Instagram. So here we are. So it's a bit empty because this is the eau de toilette, but it's in a splash bottle. So I've decanted quite a good lot of it into an atomizer so I can spray it, because I just can't cope with splash bottles. I feel like two things. I'm worried about opening and closing, exposing it to the air all the time, but also whenever I try and apply it, I spill it everywhere.
Actually, end up wasting quite a lot, don't
Yeah.
you? By pouring it into your hand. I've never quite mastered.
So
it.
I decant a lot of my splash bottles into ones like this. But here you go.
I can't tell you how excited I am by this, because this is like
So
this is a holy grail.
I'm trying to think what I
fragrance
paid. I think 190.
Yeah.
I think I paid for this, which actually is pretty cheap considering how much it goes for. These go for hundreds and hundreds. This one.
for me. Oh my god,
I thought you'd be excited to wear this.
that's just pure herbaceous, mossy amazingness. God, it feels so modern as well. It feels modern and also vintage at the same time.
This is the kind of thing you can imagine Roger Dove releasing in a £1,500 Swarovski crystal bottle. Like,
God. Oh, that's so good.
yeah, it is.
It's so refined as well.
Yeah, as I said to you, what is amazing about it? So this is 1980, and in a way you are transported to fragrances in that period. But I don't think I've smelled anything like this. This kind of I was going to say aromatic fougere, but it's also got a kind of sheepery feel.
Yeah.
Actually, but it's so ultra smooth. Sometimes
remarkable.
sometimes the oak moss in these fragrances, especially modern versions of it, comes through as a bit bitter, and the first spray is a bit like, that's a bit of a slap around the face. Whereas with this, it's just sublime from kind of start to finish. And this one's a real shapeshift on me. Sometimes we're kind of putting it into that classic aromatic, masculine, aromatic fougere category. But it's almost like a male fragrance. You know, a lot of the male 80s fragrances, certainly they feel like male aromatic fougères. Whereas this feels like it's so good in a way that it becomes a little bit more unisex and leans towards a chypre. But then as well, sometimes I feel the kind of ambriness in the dry down and the slight aromatic funk. I sometimes think I'm wearing an Oriental.
Yeah, I can totally see that actually. I think because the ingredients and the notes all speak for themselves so well that depending on your mood and how you are on a day, you'll pick up one thing or another, and it'll sort of invite you down the rabbit hole.
Lovely sage in that opening as well, isn't there?
Yeah, and actually I'm getting like some gin, some weird
juniper-y ness.
And it's kind of, it feels almost quite minimalist as well. It's like rich, but you can see everything. It's like full of light.
Yeah.
It's not like, I think of something like Azzaro, which is great, but it's kind of a bit rough around the edges at first and a bit like, ooh, that's just seamless, smooth.
Yeah, you feel like you've gone straight to a mid. I mean, maybe this, I know.
May well have done.
I remember, I think the guy that Dan bought this from was, it was basically like a house sale, and the person had lots and lots of unopened, like the person had inherited the bottles from somebody else who used to work in a perfume shop, so they just had lots of unopened bottles.
That's my dream, actually.
It's the dream of like where we buy them from, and it wasn't.
We need to make
cheap.
some of these contacts, don't we?
Yeah, if you are watching and you have a house sale and you've got lots of really expensive unopened perfume.
If you die, send us.
Include us in your will. Boston Loft Church, London.
That's beautiful. I'm a huge fan of that.
Wowzers.
I'm so excited by this.
Now,
it's starting to get really peppery as well.
I think it was Nietzsche who said you can never have too much vintage Guerlain. So here we go. Coriolan. So we've got two discontinued. I'm actually just going to pop this straight in here like this because this is another.
Good move.
Especially you've got a lot of juice there.
That's fine. That's good.
This is one that was discontinued because I think it came out in 1995, or it may even be a little bit later than that. Maybe it's 98 or something like that. And it feels completely misjudged. This is something that really feels like it belongs in the 80s. And I heard rumour that Jean-Paul Guerlain started working on this the same time as Derby, like 15 years earlier. And in the end, he didn't release it for a very long time, which is maybe why it feels like it belonged to a different era. It's
really beautiful, actually. We've smelt this before, haven't we? But not this vintage.
Yeah. And what I love about it, you get this kind of like citrusy aromatic fougere, lots of bright kind of citrus going on at the beginning, but also quite coriander and some nutmeg as well. Some kind of quite bright.
It feels a little bit, despite actually probably having lost some of the top. It feels like it shares some DNA with Heritage.
Yeah.
That very 90s sandalwood fresh fougere approach.
But what I also like about this one is unexpectedly the florals in the mid. It suddenly goes a bit much more as if you think you're wearing a kind of a traditional kind of 80s chypre, even though this is a 90s fragrance. An 80s fougere, even though it's a 90s fragrance. But then it becomes a bit chypre with the florals in the mid. Anyway, another one discontinued.
I'll try that again.
But sorry, here's your stick.
What's weird, I have to say, is seeing the size of the bottle, because I've got a bottle of a sample of this that you'd given me, which is about this big, but it's the same bottle. It's like Honey I Shrunk the Bottle or something. Honey I Inflated the Kids. It's really nice, actually.
It is really good.
Do you know? I have to say also, I know, maybe I'm really annoying. I always go on about this reminds me of this. This reminds me of that.
No, but you need like
Cerruti 1881 from '98. Well, I wore it in '98. There's a relationship there as well between those two, and the current Cerruti is not so good. But it does feel 90s, but it also does feel 80s. It's like perfumery stopped for a little while.
But the fact it came out a couple of years after Agua de Gio
Yeah, it doesn't want to go in the direction of those aquatic Calon
It missed the
cucumber.
time. Anyway, just one more, which is one that Joe's had, and Joe's spoken about lots because he's got the modern version and the vintage version.
Yes.
But I didn't have it, and now I have Derby. Yay!
Yes, good stuff.
Interestingly, I guess that it is actually different to both of your versions because it is the. I don't want to drop it. It is the aftershave bottle.
And it's actually a much cooler bottle than mine.
It is a pretty
That's
cool.
really awesome.
Again, it looks more empty than you would expect because I have once again decanted it into one of these things. Look, I have even put a little stick on it just so I can remember.
Oh, let's see. I've noticed that.
I just put that, you know.
Oh, that's very cool.
So this is an aftershave, and in a
artistic.
way as well, I think it's quite nice that I'm having Derby as an aftershave because it's, you know, a manly aftershave. Not that I ever shave, obviously.
No, but when you think about shaving,
I'll let you have. So I was worried that this
this
might be
thank you.
a lesser brother of the Eau de Toilette, but when I've worn it, I've not found that at all.
So
Again, it's
beautiful.
filling the space, isn't it? That kind of aldehyde-y,
Totally.
leathery barber, like it's got lots of that shaving cream vibe.
It's
isn't it?
got a relationship to opium straight away. The way the spices all blend and mingle and the woodsiness going on.
I never considered that, but I know what you mean.
God, I love that. That's one of my favourite fragrances, full stop. But that especially. I avoid aftershave when I look on eBay and things, and I think, oh no, I don't want aftershave. And actually, they're beautiful. And do you know what else I've realised? A lot of what I was wearing in the 80s and 90s, which I now think was EDT, wouldn't have been. It would have been aftershave. Because to me as a child, when I thought fragrance, I thought aftershave. Still, people call things aftershave now, don't they?
Or as they call them, cologne. Or,
Yeah, and I think when I went out to university and even at school, I was buying aftershave.
Yeah.
And that's bloody good.
So this
Not
I
to
bought
be
through
avoided.
a fragrance group, 65 quid.
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
And I've been hunting. I've been
It's
I've
such a
been
fantastic
watching
fragrance.
bottles for like 190 quid on eBay. So I'm really excited that.
So
Fun
beautiful.
times with vintage. So a lot of our shopping has been the old stuff. Amazing. Tell us about your lockdown purchases or any good vintage successes. Like, have you got a bottle of Nombre Noir for £6.70?
Send it our way.
Yeah.
And keep shopping around as well. I mean, more and more I'm learning that stuff that you see on the sort of shelves and you read about on Fragrantica for 5 seconds are the classics, and they're sort of where perfume has come from.
Yeah.
I think it's really worth knowing all of them.
Yeah, I mean, as many as you can. I really feel they're kind of, reference points that you can, educate yourself about.
Flipping good.
Brilliant. We're going to go and enjoy ourselves.
We're going to drink these.
Smell these. Yeah, all of them. Until next time,
Bye.
happy sniffing.